Hello, this clip is being used for educational purposes. Government intimidation of pastors.
Today I sent to Houston City Council a draft of a new equal rights ordinance for the city of Houston.
There was nothing equal about it. It wasn't about anything equal. It was more about special rights. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 is about equal rights, not special rights.
Opponents marched into City Hall together, showing the mayor's proposed equal rights ordinance has touched a nerve, especially the part about public accommodations.
The imagery that I have in my mind is a grown man going into the restroom and a 6-year-old girl standing on side of her using the restroom.
We are determined to protect our women and our girls. And so we felt that it was our duty as pastors and fathers and husbands and brothers to stand up against this ordinance.
Well, we did everything you could do to convince our city council members to vote against this ordinance.
More than 200 people got up in front of City Council today and emotionally expressed their views both for and against the ordinance, which ultimately passed.
Opponents of the ordinance now have 30 days to collect the more than 17,000 petition signatures needed to appeal the decision.
Houston pastors, civic leaders, and many just mom-and-pop citizens banded together, 55,000 strong, to sign a petition that said, we want to repeal this bad law. The person who is charged with the responsibility of saying if the petition is valid or not is a 42-year veteran. Her name is Anna Russell, and she's the city secretary for Houston.
The city secretary, when those were turned in, stopped counting at a little over 19,000 because we had a 93% rate of the signatures passing, and we had already exceeded the threshold that we needed.
The city attorney, David Feldman, interfered in the process. He stepped in and setting a historical precedent, and according to Anna Russell herself, this had never happened before.
With respect to the referendum petition filed to repeal the HERO ordinance, there are simply too many documents with irregularities and problems to overlook. The petition is simply invalid.
I believe that is totally wrong. I believe that the position that the mayor of the Houston is wrong. I don't think that this is the way that the administration has to function. I believe the whole thing is wrong.
It tells the people of Houston that government elected by them is no longer listening to them who live in the city of Houston.
My own daughter's petition was thrown out.
We have an elected member of City Council. His name is Oliver Pennington. He signed this petition, Olin, instead of Oliver, because that's his real name. The mayor threw his signature out based on the fact that he didn't sign Oliver. How ridiculous is that?
They took and removed 50%, brought us down below the minimum, and they declared that we had not met the minimum standard. So we immediately filed a legal challenge in the courts, challenging the city's actions on that and their interpretation of this.
When we went into the temporary hearing, we had one attorney and the city had 15 attorneys.
Those lawyers come from the biggest, most powerful law firms that the state of Texas has to offer.
Where the city of Houston has issued subpoenas demanding that a group of pastors turn over their sermons as part of a battle to enforce an equal rights ordinance in the city. Now, ministers who failed to comply with the subpoena could be held in contempt of court.
I mean, this is an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment rights of pastors.
The city attorneys have asked for any form of communication we have, from text message to any communication that I have with my people.
The city attorneys came and subpoenaed me asking for all of my notes, my sermons, my speeches. They're trying to say, pastors, we are over your pulpit, we are in your church, and we are keeping an eye on you, and you better do what we say. In other words, abuse of power, and that cannot be tolerated in America.
We have gone through this. I'm one of the original boat people, and we have escaped from the country that they do the same thing. They ask for sermon, they ask for any program that we have in the service, and they have to approve it before we can conduct our service.
I believe that they are trying to intimidate us, and they are not getting that point. We are not intimidated.
We're not afraid of this, and so the good news is, from our standpoint, bring it on. We're willing to stand and fight and go to jail if we have to.
Because as we stand right now, two people, the mayor and city attorney, have taken away the voting rights of the fourth largest city in the country.
It's a voter rights issue. The voters of the city of Houston would like to vote on this.
Everyone ought to stand up for our right to vote.
Pastors, this should give you something to think about. You also might consider joining with other pastors together that you might stand. This clip can be seen in its full context for free online at the 2-hour broadcast at istandsunday.com.